Welcome to Reddit Tea Time. Am I the bonehead for giving more money to my daughter than my sons and saying that my grandkids are not my responsibility? My wife and I have 3 kids, boy 1, 34, boy 2, 30, and girl 26. As we have good careers, we were able to pay for all of their college tuitions, which varies on year, degree, and university. The 3 were all about the same. No big changes. Our 2 boys decided to get a degree and get to work. However, our daughter decided she'll do a postgraduate. My wife and I have decided to pay for that as well. We have always valued education a lot, so we think that if we can help, there's no reason to not do so. Our 2 sons are upset over this news. They think that we're spoiling our girl. Both of them said that they all should get the same treatment. I told them that this is because their sister is choosing to pursue higher education than they did, so she should get more money. Our oldest said that's unfair, and instead of giving the money to our daughter, we could start a college fund for our grandkids. I told him that absolutely not, because their kids are their responsibility just as my kids are mine. So I'd rather pay for my daughter than my grandkids. I'm not saying that because I don't love my grandkids. I love them with all my heart. But I don't think that my kids should count on me to pay for their kids' stuff. My sons are upset. They're upset with me and my wife because we're paying our daughter's college, and they're upset at me for my comment about their kids. They said that we're once again spoiling our golden children, and that I'm picking favorites. Them versus their sister, my daughter versus my grandkids. Now for some top comments. Not the bonehead. It's your money and you were very clear in your reasoning. I would note, though, that this is the kind of thing that can start a major fracture in a family. Your older kids are acting very entitled. Yes. I do wonder if some of that is out of fear. Their generation is facing a lot more obstacles to building wealth than your generation did, and your sons may be afraid that they won't be able to readily hand out money for school the way you can. Equal division of money among siblings, however fair and logical it seems, can create a simmering kind of resentment that, I know from experience, can break things irrevocably. You shouldn't be held hostage by that, but I think it is worth considering. Is there a middle ground? Small amounts in 529 accounts, or similar to Kickstart savings for the grandkids? Call it an early Christmas present. You're not the bonehead, and your children's children are their responsibility. But it might be a way to ensure that your sons don't end up hating their sister, which would be mean and unfair, but could happen. Not the bonehead. Just let them know they are welcome to get their postgrad anytime, and you would be happy to pay. This isn't about who gets how much money, but that you're committed to paying for the education of your kids if they would like it. This is like going to a Mexican restaurant offering free dessert and asking for the cash value so you can go somewhere else to buy sushi. The offer was for free dessert, not money to get something else. Not the bonehead. Fair does not mean equal, and life is not even always fair. It's your money, and you can spend it however you like. Your children are all grown-ups and can fund their own lives. Same for your grandkids' college education. It is not your duty to fund it. It's your money, and you should have no shame spending it the way you like. Am I the bonehead for not wearing a bra to my friend's wedding? I, female 23, have small boobs. You can't tell if I'm wearing a bra or not in most tops, so when I can, I don't wear a bra as I find them uncomfortable. My friend Kate, female 25, is getting married and asked me to be a bridesmaid. I accepted, and then she texted me privately to ask if I could wear a bra for her wedding, as she doesn't want me to flash someone. I tried explaining to her that the bridesmaid dress she had picked out had full sleeves, so you wouldn't be able to tell, as the material is also very thick. Kate got really mad at me, and my sister said maybe I should just suck it up and wear a bra. I just find it to be a weird, invasive question, as you literally can't tell if I had a bra on in the first place or not in that dress. And I'm sure no one over there is staring at my chest. Now for some top comments. You're the bonehead softly. If she's bringing it up, maybe it's more noticeable than you think. Is this really a hill you want to die on? She's not asking you to color your hair or hide tattoos. Is this worth threatening a friendship over? If that's much of a burden to you, take it off after the ceremony and photos. You're the bonehead. You might not realize it, but it is noticeable if your sister is on Team Bra too. There are plenty of inexpensive, comfortable styles out there. Try not to make this all about you. You can't be serious. You're the bonehead. It isn't a big ask. Just wear a bra. Why are you even trying to argue against it? She specifically asked for it. Am I the bonehead because I left without saying goodbye after finding out about my inheritance? Am I the bonehead here? Was visiting my dad and siblings in another country for the holidays, and I didn't say goodbye to my father or brother and his family, after discovering they worked together to sign everything over to my brother and giving me and my 2 sisters 1% of father's assets. Was visiting family with my husband and children after not having seen them in almost 2 years. The day before we were scheduled to leave, I had a sit-down with my elderly father to discuss his plans for his estate after passing. This estate, built by him and my mother before she passed 4 years ago, consists of 8 figures worth of commercial and residential property. He said he would give me and my sisters some cash, 1% of what the properties are worth, and give everything else to my brother since it's tradition. We are from a Middle Eastern background. My brother did work in the family business since college and has also benefited greatly from it, living in a multi-million-dollar home, etc. The biggest part of the portfolio, a strip mall, was because the previous owner was a friend of mine who was selling it and decided to sell to my family because of our friendship. My sisters and I, who are older than our brother, worked alongside our parents during the building of their businesses and during lean times. We did the grunt work as preteens and teens. Additionally, we did a lot of the caregiving for our mother when she was suffering from a terminal illness that robbed her of all of her body's ability. I am shocked and dismayed, to say the very least. I understand my brother helped in running the businesses, but he did more management, etc., not anything customer-facing or manual labor the way my sisters and I did. I understand that no one is owed an inheritance, but this is beyond the pale. We have been good daughters. Because I was so upset, I packed up my kids and bags and left without saying goodbye or anything. My dad got upset that I left without saying bye to her father. Now for some top comments. Not the bonehead. Daddy dearest can get his love and respect from his son. If he doesn't owe you anything, you owe him the same. Not the bonehead, and I really hope you stand your ground and don't do the traditional daughters take care of the parents as they age thing. Your brother can do that now. Not the bonehead. The 1200s called, and they want their Salic primogeniture back. Am I the bonehead for telling my brother that this is not my problem? My daughter and my niece both started high school this year. They both attend the best high school in our town. My daughter is extremely smart and very popular at school. She is friends with almost everyone in her class. My niece, on the other hand, is not that smart. She struggles with simple tasks, and she has no friends. A few days ago, my brother called me and asked me to change my daughter's school because kids have been making fun of my niece and calling her the stupid one, while they call my daughter the smart one. He claims that his daughter never had this kind of problem, and it started when my daughter started to attend the same school as her because everyone is comparing them now since they are cousins. He also claims that it's also my daughter's fault because the kids who do this are her friends. I told him that I'm not changing my daughter's school and this is not my problem. My daughter is friends with almost everyone, and she can't be expected to control everyone's actions. Also, since my daughter is very clearly smarter and is thriving in this school while his daughter is struggling, and also because his daughter doesn't have any friends there anyway, then she should be the one to go to a new school. He thinks I'm being a bonehead. Now, for some top comments. Of course your daughter shouldn't have to change schools, especially if she's thriving. Not the bonehead for not uprooting her to appease someone else. But you're the bonehead because you've got major blinders on. Your niece wasn't bullied before your daughter got there. Now she is. Something happened. The bullying comments you make in the privacy of your home somehow ended up flying around your daughter's school. And you're self-absorbed enough to think that this is just confirmation that everybody sees what you see, that your daughter is perfect and your niece is a dunce. But people's perceptions didn't suddenly get better. The stars didn't align. Your daughter obviously said something, maybe a lot of somethings. Maybe it's because she thinks it's normal to talk about this poor kid that way, because she hears it all the time. Maybe she got where she is socially by stepping on others. It's a classic, common tactic for a reason. But all signs point to your daughter instigating bullying, and you won't even consider it. At the very least, she should be leveraging her social status to get people to lay off. But there's no indication of that in your post. Popularity is rarely a sign of innate goodness. You need to stop slandering your poor niece and open your eyes to the fact that you and your daughter probably catalyzed this whole thing because you're lacking in class and empathy. You're so gleeful in this post, so transparently boastful. Did Regina George grow up and have a daughter? You're the bonehead, but not for refusing to change your child's school. It's clear you have a very low opinion of your niece. I suspect your daughter shares it. Possibly your attitude rubbed off on her. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's some bullying and exclusion happening. You're the bonehead, not for the situation, but just your overall attitude towards your niece. You sound like you despise her. There is definitely more to this scenario than OP is saying. Nobody is that dismissive towards a close family member without a reason. Am I the bonehead for refusing to be adopted to present this nicely packaged story to my young step-siblings when they're older? My dad got married to Eve last year. Eve has 2 kids. Her son is 4 now, and her daughter is 2. There's a lot of deep stuff in Eve's background, and in the kids with their paternal side of the family. But they really had nobody other than Eve until my dad and Eve met. Once they got married, my dad adopted them. Then my dad's relatives didn't want the kids to be treated the same as the rest of the grandkids, and told Dad they would never mean as much to them as the rest of the bio family would. So he told them to get lost and cut ties with them. When all 3 other sides, Dad's, Eve's, and the kids' paternal side, were basically not in the picture, Dad asked my mom's family, my mom died when I was 2, if they would embrace my step-siblings as family and treat them the way they would me because they were now my siblings and my family, and I loved them. So it was important for me to see them being embraced by my family. My family actually asked me if what Dad said was true, and I told them it wasn't. I said I hardly even knew the kids, let alone loved them. My family told my dad they would never see my step-siblings as their grandkids. I should also maybe make it clear that my dad and maternal family did not remain close, or like family after my mom died. I still saw my family, but Dad was never involved, and he would go to his own family when I was with mine. I never liked my dad's family, so it was never a huge deal to me to not see them. And it's not a huge deal not to have them around at all. They were always really annoying about how girly I am, and they could never believe I would want to have a manly job when I graduate. Eve was pretty depressed when she realized she hadn't made her kids' family all that much bigger, and that they had been rejected even more. So Dad decided that we would be the tightest little unit and we would all choose each other, so they would know they were chosen and loved despite all the rejection. My dad decided for this to fully work, I should let Eve adopt me. I refused without hearing anything else, and I told him Eve will never adopt me, and I don't care how much of a nice story it paints for her kids because I am not doing that for them. He told me they are little, and Eve said it would mean so much to them. Dad told me part of being a big sibling is putting the younger kids first. I told them the kids were never going to be my priority, and I would never go out of my way for them like that. Dad offered a compromise then, of me writing and signing a contract saying I would always be their big brother, and I was so lucky to choose 2 awesome siblings, which I said no to as well. Then the adoption stuff was pushed more. Eve tried telling me I would still be able to call her Eve most of the time, but just call her mom in front of her kids. Dad told me I was being selfish for refusing to do this and reiterated that the kids should be our priority. Am I the bonehead? Now for some top comments. Not the bonehead, but your dad and Eve are massive ones trying to force you to be adopted. Their actions lost them more than they could have possibly gained. Not the bonehead. What a mess, OP. I'm sorry you've been dragged into this. Just because your dad and Eve want to play happy families and pretend everything is peachy, doesn't mean you have to play along. You have a right to say no, and they should respect that. Not the bonehead. Eve shows that her kids' well-being means more to her than yours. Tell them they can't push you. You are willing to see how family dynamics will establish, but they should not push you or you would lose interest in connecting with them. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next Reddit story. Take care.